shall engage the enemy in his own mentality. You shall chase his dreams. You shall fight his demons. You shall live his nightmares.
In over 40 years of video game history, many games have come and gone, but only a few of them stood the test of time.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Test of Time. In this new series I'll be checking out some older games to see if they're still as fun as they were all these years ago. And we'll start off today with a game that has a special place in my gamer's heart, Psychonauts. This 3D platformer was released back in 2005 for PC, Xbox and PS2, and even though it didn't sell very well, it did amass a loyal fanbase, and it's still considered to be one of the better platformers of its generation. And 10 years after its initial release, a sequel was even crowdfunded, and Psychonauts 2 is officially in the works as we speak. Well, let's just dive into it and see if the original is still as fun as it was all these years ago.
My name
Starts with a D.
is Rasputin.
Psychonauts tells the story of Rasputin, a boy with psychic powers who runs away from the circus he grew up in to become a psychonaut. He ends up at Whispering Rock Psychic Summer Camp, expecting to become a psychic secret agent with the help of some of the best psychonauts around. But things turn out a bit different. Soon the other kids at camp start acting all weird and it turns out their brains are being stolen to create an army of psychic death tanks to take over the world. Raz's career takes a leap as he is the only one left to save the kids and Psychonaut celebrities Sasha 9 and Mia Vodello and make sure the world lives to see another day. Most of the characters are really well written in this game. They each have a personality of their own, and as it turns out, a psychic summer camp isn't that different from your normal summer camp. You'll see bullies,
Dad, you owe me 5 arrowheads for this week's protection service.
outcasts,
And then you'll make their heads explode?
secret crushes,
So immature.
And cute. When are you gonna just shut up and kiss me?
Shut up and do what?
and a Russian kid who wants to fight bears all the time.
In Russia, bears much smaller, also more hair, less lurking, always eager to wrestle.
It's definitely worth running around the camp after each level to see what your fellow campers have to say next.
You start counting, and then I go hide in that bush.
Great. Wood.
The game is set up as a semi-open world game, with the camp acting as a hub world and the heads of the NPCs being the levels themselves. Yep, that's right, you go into the minds of the people you meet, finding out their dirty little secrets, and you can even help them sort out some emotional baggage along the way. This gave the devs a lot of room to come up with interesting, creative levels, and they sure managed to deliver on this one. From the trenches of Coach Oleander's mind to Mia's groovy dance party, and my favorite level in a video game ever, the Milkman Conspiracy. Everything looks and feels like it's made with a lot of love and an extremely twisted sense of humor, making every level a joy to explore. Some of the highlights are the Lumphushopolis level, where you wreak havoc as a giant Godzilla-like monster in a fish city, the Napoleon level, where you play a board game against your great-great-great-great-grandfather Napoleon, and the aforementioned Milkman level, with its MC Escher-like design and the secret agents.
I am a grieving widow.
I am your sister in grief.
I would have loved to have visited the heads of my fellow campers as well, but for some reason you only get into the heads of other NPCs. Taking a look inside the minds of Dogen, Lily or Nils would have been a great way to deepen out their characters a bit more, but who knows, maybe we'll see that in the sequel, right? During your adventures you'll collect a handful of items and psychic powers to make your life a lot easier. You can shoot stuff, burn stuff, throw stuff, and see through the eyes of others to find your way through all these mental mazes. It's too bad you don't have to use your psychic powers a bit more during the game. There's just a couple of moments you'll need your clairvoyant skill or the telekinesis power, and you'll find yourself mostly relying on the Psyblast shield and invisibility and levitation skills, but all powers are really fun to use in the end. You unlock and upgrade powers by collecting all sorts of things throughout the game, all sorts of collectibles, and this is another thing this game does more than right. Each level is filled with figments of the imagination, those are those weird transparent things you see floating around, and there's also emotional baggage to sort out, mental cobwebs to untangle, and vaults containing the person's innermost secrets. Most of these are pretty easy to get, but getting every collectible in the game can be quite a challenge, especially since the figments can be really hard to spot from the wrong angle. And there's also currency in the form of buried arrowheads. You can find those all around the campsite, but you only use them to buy stuff at the camp store, so you won't be going after those that much.
Camp's built on an Indian burial ground, and...
Oh my gosh! Indians buried their dead here?
Ew! hope not. No, stupid. They buried their arrowheads here.
The controls still feel really good after all these years. The platforming is still pretty fluid, and aside from getting uphill in your levitation ball, it never gets really hard. The Steam version I played has had a graphical overhaul, but for some reason not everything seems to be upgraded. Especially during the cutscenes you'll see a lot of weird blurry textures and blurry parts, and even though it won't affect your enjoyment of the game in any way, it does feel like the graphical overhaul was either rushed or just half-assed. So, did Psychonauts stand the test of time? I would definitely say yes. In an age where 3D platformers like this are pretty much extinct, playing through Psychonauts was a true trip down memory lane. And it makes you wonder why these games are so few and far between these days. With an interesting premise, great humor, and gameplay that never seems to get old, Psychonauts is one of these games you can always pick up and play, even if it was just to check out some more of the awesome dialogue.
On the road crew. This is my stop sign.
Yes, we are all on the road crew. Our backs are killing us.
Especially since it's pretty cheap. I got it on a Steam sale for 99 cents, and it doesn't require a monster PC. There's no reason not to check this one out. So if you haven't played this one before, and don't have a PS4 to enjoy the new Ratchet & Clank, this is pretty much a no-brainer.